Hello everyone, my name is Nicholas and this is an update video on the Space project. This project is based on the Pocket Fleet programming workshop that I ran, and the goal is to take that simulation that I built and further develop it from being purely an educational tool, turning it into a real-time strategy game. So far the plans for this game are to have the player follow a particular trade empire as that empire first establishes itself in space, then comes into conflict with other trade empires and powers, and finally follow that conflict through into the war that follows. Mechanically speaking, the game will be broken up into the player having control over ships, which will act as units, and fighting for control of stations, which will act as strategic points. A lot of the mechanics will be influenced and inspired by games like Homeworld and Company of Heroes, to name two of the main influences. But for now, let's take a look at the actual game and what we've developed so far. So this is the game. For those of you who have seen the Pocket Fleet programming workshop, it should look fairly familiar. The main focus so far has been on developing user-controlled ships. From the workshop, there were already artificially controlled ships. So these ships here are all being controlled by an AI. Currently they're trading with the stations. But what we really notice is that we can't control them. We have no control over what these ships are doing. It doesn't matter how much we click on them, they're not listening. So the first part was to actually make the ships responsive to the user. And what we have over here is our little group of ships that we've been given. Inspired very much by existing real-time strategy control schemes, single clicking on a ship will select it, and this ship has a number of orders that we can give it. We can give it traditional move orders, attack orders, we can get it to dock with stations, which will in fact repair that ship. We can also give this ship more complex orders. We can queue up orders, so the ship will complete those orders one after the other. We can give those ships a patrol order, so they will move from point A to point B and then continue back to point A and patrol that area. And we can also give priority orders, which will help the user manage the user's order queue and what they're doing and what they're going to do next. So we have the ship selected. To move the ship, it's simply right click at the moment, and we can move that ship around wherever we like. To give that unit a movement queue or a queued order, we hold down shift and we go click click click, and those orders are now stacked up inside the ship, and it will complete those orders one by one. Currently there's no limit on how many orders you can give a unit, which may be changed. You can also give that ship patrol orders by holding shift and alt and clicking. And currently it requires 2 clicks to set up the start and the end of the patrol route. Interestingly, in my experience, a lot of games, they implement patrolling as a button on the GUI. Meaning that when you have ships selected, if you click that button and then click on the ground somewhere, what will happen is that unit will patrol from wherever it was at the moment you clicked to wherever you clicked. Meaning that if this ship is here and I patrol click to here, that ship will patrol from that point to this point. In my opinion, this seems a little bit imprecise. Like if your units are all moving around and you don't know what they're doing and you're giving them a patrol order, they could, you know where they're going to end up, but you've got no idea what the other end of that patrol route might look like. And also the ability to only patrol between 2 points, I feel is fairly limited. So within my movement queue, holding the patrol key combination and then clicking will allow you to queue up any number of patrol points that you wish. So you can have units patrol in a square, as I've just told this unit to, and you can have them patrol large complex paths. You can have them patrol all the way around your base. You can have them patrolling in zigzags. It gives you a lot more flexibility in how you want your units to actually keep an eye on your part of the map. So here we can see him just moving in a square. Another thing which I find really useful is the ability to preserve any sort of patrol route that a unit has while being able to give him a priority order. So currently, by holding down shift and control, you can give that unit a priority order, meaning that unit will instantly go off and do whatever it was you told him to do, and will then go back to whatever patrol route or orders he had. This can also be done on simple move orders. So if I tell this ship to move over here, and then give him a priority order to go back here and attack, or go back here and dock, or do something like that, he will go back, do that, and then continue on whatever he was doing. Meaning that if you've got ships moving around and you don't know what they're doing, you can't remember what they're doing, but you don't want to disturb them, you don't want to screw up any orders that you've given, you can give them priority orders, which will then end up sorted to the top of their list. They'll do those first, and then go back to what they were doing beforehand. The beauty of how this system has been set up is that all of these orders, all of the abilities of the ship can be built into any of these different order types, meaning that a ship can move and can have movement queued and can have a patrol route of movement, but they can also have attack orders queued, they can have dock orders queued, and they can have both of those different types of orders patrolled, meaning that if you've got a patrol route around your base and you want the ship to go here, then here, then here, then here, then dock, then that ship will go around that patrol route and dock with that station once every time around that patrol route, meaning that if you've got ships that might be fired upon while they're patrolling, you can have them dock in at a station at the end of every patrol route to regain any health they might have lost. This patrol route's a bit derpy, but it demonstrates the point. Attack orders and follow orders, which is another order I think I forgot to mention. You can have ships follow other ships. These orders can also be queued and patrolled, but given the nature of a follow order never being finished, it doesn't really make much sense to give that type of order. I'm not sure whether I want to put some sort of limitation on that or just let the player figure it out. So those are the orders for ships currently, including all of the complexities that come with it and all the functionalities that have been built in. What I've also been working on is the ability to not only select a single ship, but select multiple ships by click dragging. Note that doesn't work on ships that aren't yours. You can single click them, but click dragging doesn't work. So selecting multiple ships and moving those ships all together. So when we give a single ship a move order, it goes and sits on that point that you clicked. When you've got multiple ships selected, you don't want that to happen, because then you'd end up with 100 ships all on one point in space. So what actually happens is I've built in formational understanding, formational positioning, meaning that when you click with a group of ships selected, they will actually rank themselves up into a formation, depending on where they were when you gave the order and where you gave the order. What this means is that these ships are all over here. If I ask them to move forward, they'll move forward as a formation. If I ask them to turn, I can click here, and because most of the ships had to move from here up there, the formation will be aligned in that direction. You can also get some really trippy effects at the moment with the way the ships find their positions. But to further improve that functionality, I found in a lot of games that have formations, if I want to move this formation a little bit to the right, it's not really going to work, because now they're all pointing the wrong way. So I've made it so that if you click and drag with your move order, you will actually get this indicator showing you which way the formation will be positioned when you give that order. What this means is that if I want this entire formation to move backwards while still facing that way, I can do it. If I want them to move just a little bit to the left while still facing forwards, I can do that. If I want them to stay basically where they are, but turn around and face a different direction, I can do that, because I have that control and that ability to face that formation in any direction I like. Another thing which has also been implemented is the ability for these formations to be changed. Currently this formation is fairly wide, but wider than the number of ships can easily fill it. But what I can do is actually change the ratio of this formation to make it really long and skinny, or to take it the other way and make it really wide. And what this means is you have just that much more control over how you actually want your ships to set up. If you want to blockade a trade route by sticking all of your ships right there in the mouth of it, you can spread your ships out so that they fill into that hole. If you want your ships to travel somewhere, but you found that being in a 2-rank column is particularly effective for defenses, then you can get them to do that. And yeah, currently the formations allow you to change the way your ships are ranked up. In future, when different ship types and different ship sizes are available, there'll also potentially be the ability to sort the ships within that rank, so that, for example, smallest ships go at the front, largest ships go at the back, or the ships with the longest range go at the back and the ships with the shortest range go in the front, or having that sorting be based on armor or experience or any other sort of metric that can be applied to these ships. There is also the potential to have different formation styles. So at the moment it's very much the rectangular sort of style, having a long, really skinny rectangle or having a really wide, fat rectangle, where the ships across the back just sort of spread themselves out to fill it as best they can. But other games implement skirmish formation, where the ships are spread out in almost a circular pattern or something like that, or semicircles or triangles. And that is something that could potentially be implemented in future. But for now, these are the features that have been implemented. We have ships that we can control them en masse. We have formational moving. We also have a lot of the movement and order features, such as being able to queue up orders, being able to create patrol routes, being able to give priority orders to maintain any patrol route that you've currently got. And yeah, a lot of the functionalities for actually moving the ships around and telling the game what you want your units to do. So that's the progress so far on the space project. Some of the plans and possibilities for the future, and I hope you all enjoyed that. I'll see you in the next update.